Okay, thank you for downloading the Amazon Merch Sales Tool. If you don't already have a copy yourself, I'll put the link in the description to my Gumroad account. This is a tutorial of how to use the workbook and all the worksheets. It should be fairly simple. There's a bunch of big fat buttons like these ones up here all over the sheet, and even if you have no Excel experience, it should work just fine for you. This is a great worksheet if you want to visualize your data and look at different groups of sales and different things by ASIN, by name, color, size, month, year, and even cancellations if you'd like to. And so I got some visuals on there for some graphs as well as some nice pivot tables just so you can have a quick glance at your data. So to start off, we're going to go get our data from a CSV file that Amazon kicks out to us. I've tampered with this one, so just to protect any kind of private information. And so it should look something like this. There should be a top column that says date, ASIN shirt name. It should be available to you through your merch account. So after you download whichever month that you have, go ahead and click on cell A2 or whichever one where the first date is located. Sometimes Amazon might change their format. But wherever the first date is located, go ahead and click and drag all the way to USD. Okay? And then as you're holding it, you can hold it all the way down to go to the very bottom. And the longer you hold, the faster it'll go. If you know any keyboard shortcuts, feel free to do so as well, as long as you get all of this data all the way out to US dollars. So you can do right click and hit copy, or you can hit Control C or Command C if you're a Mac, and go back over to the Merch Sales tool. Now, cell A5 should already be highlighted. If it's not, go ahead and click on it. And be sure it's not like this. If you click on it, you see a little cursor right there. You don't want that, so go ahead and click away. Click on it so it's just a big green box, and that's it. Go ahead and do paste. You can paste up here or right click and hit paste, whichever way you want. And before we get into the next step, I just want to point something out over here. There's plenty of warnings just to make sure we do not delete or mess with anything in these 4 cells. The long story short is that these 4 cells are what the rest of them bank on. It's basically taking these formulas and bringing them all the way down. So don't mess with those. If you have to delete all of your data for some reason and restart, just delete it all up until row 5, and then you can delete this one separately. Just do not delete anything in here. Okay, so let's move on. After you pasted in your data, you can go ahead and hit Update Tables. It should say, Eureka, your dashboard is ready to go. Okay, and so now we're on the first tab, which is called Simple View. And you shouldn't have to worry about the tabs down here. You can just navigate through some convenient buttons that I threw up here for you. But anyway, so Simple View basically shows one pivot table with a bunch of filters and a lot of buttons up top. So this pivot table right here is going to show you just the shirt name, the amount ordered, and the royalties. And so it's a very quick view just to see, okay, how are we doing? You can check for how are we doing for the year, how are we doing for the month, specific colors, genders, and product types. Obviously, you guys are going to have more. This is just a small group of dummy data that I made up. So, for example, if you want to sort by royalties, just simply click right here, Sort by Royalties. And it didn't change much, but as you can see, it goes from the highest royalty down. And if you want to go sort by number ordered, sometimes, so some things shifted right here. Sometimes you'll get shirts that sell more but make you less money. And so this is a way to view that. Also, I threw the grand totals right up here, just because for a lot of you, the amount of shirts are going to be way more than 10, and so you're going to have to be scrolling a lot to see the bottom. So I just threw the grand total right there. The next thing in line is item search. And this should work on both Macs and PCs. If it gives Macs an issues, I can make a quick fix for it. But basically, it does a Control F for you, where you can, if you want to find, let's say, a shirt that's way down here. You know, you have like, let's say 1,000 shirts, and you don't know where this certain shirt is, but you want to see the metrics on it. So let's say I'm looking for shirt 7, and let's say instead of being right here, it was way down here. Well, now I can find it super easy. So I can X out of that. Shirt 7 is highlighted, and I can see the data on it. Now let's say I want to just see for the year. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can go ahead and click on whichever year you want to see. If I just click 2017, this is only data from 2017. Same thing for 2018. If I want to get rid of this filter, I can either click right here to get rid of it, and that goes for all of the slicers here is what they're called. That goes for all of them. Or I can hit this button up here, Clear Filters, and that clears out everything. So let's say I want to look at January in 2018 and only black shirts. and I only want to look at men who purchased. So I can see specific all the way down, and it looks like down here it looks like someone bought it and he canceled it. But this is how you would get very specific on it. And obviously you guys can look at whatever combination that you want to see. So I'll go ahead and hit clear filters again to get rid of all of that. Now something that is nice is if you want to look at multiple months or multiple years or multiple anything, you can, let's say you want to look at January through March. You can hit these little 3 check marks right there. And that means all of them that you select are going to be, or rather, sorry about that, you can hit January and then do these 3 check marks so that all the next ones you select will add on to it. So January and February and March. So it's kind of nice to do it that way. If you really want to get into the shortcuts, you can hold down the control for PC. I'm not sure if it's going to be command or not for Mac, but you can kind of play with it. Hit control and then May, June, July, November. So it does the same thing whether you're on this little thing or not. Go ahead and clear those out. Something else that I included in here for you guys is a date range. So let's say you want to see something specifically for Valentine's Day, and you can click on February, and so you know that, okay, back in 2015 or so, I'll include these real quick. In February, back in 2017 or so, I sold a lot of Valentine's Day shirts, right? And so it's approaching right now. It's actually February as I'm making this video, but let's say it was January, and I want to see how many shirts or what shirts sold well. Well, I don't really know if these sold specifically for Valentine's Day because they could have sold afterwards. So what you can do is go ahead and clear the filters out and hit View Date Range. So View Date Range, what that does is it ungroups a bunch of cells right here, or exposes them. So this little this timeline pops up, which is pretty nice. It's a very Excel kind of just came out with this, I believe, in the last couple of versions of it, and so it's kind of it can be finicky sometimes. It's very basic. You can't do a lot of editing with it. But let's say I wanted to go to February of 2017. So let's do that. February 2017. Yeah, it's back there. Okay. There it is. So February 2017, I want to look at specifically a few days before and after Valentine's Day. So let's say right there. You can just, what you do is you just click on a day, and you can either click and hold and then drag to the side, or you can click on a day and grab these little gray bars to the side and then drag that across. So it gives you an exact date range. And of course on mine, I didn't have any in that date range. If I make it a little bit longer, it might pick some up, but this is just dummy data that I gathered. And so anyway, it'll work for you guys if you have more data than I do. So go ahead and hit clear filters. That'll clear everything out again. And the next thing you can do is, if you don't want to see this anymore, if it's getting kind of crowded, just hit hide date range, and that should be fine. And if you want to go to graphs over here, these are pretty nice. So the first one is months. It goes months, colors, sizes, cancellations, and then the little buttons to get back to your views. So right here we have the months graph. And so if you want to see how you're doing each year, typically there's not a clean-cut way that I found yet to see January through December and then again January through December. It would it'd be a lot of tedious effort on your part of actually altering the data that you paste in. So this is the best that Excel will give us so far. So let's say I want to see all the months for just 2017. And so for you guys, you can either check this box like multiple items or not. And I'm just going to click on 2017. So in the year 2017, everything is under all, so it's going to show everything. I can see that in May, I sold really well. June, it kind of dipped. July, I sold well, and so on and so forth. And if I want to filter specifically, let's say I want to see how I sold to all the men. So just to all the men in 2017, should say right there. So 2017 men, this is how I did. And so you can play with that, see what you guys want to do. It's really convenient for targeting. If you want to make some sponsored content, you want to see, okay, what did men like this year? What did they like in this certain month? Or rather, that would be the other sheet. This one would be rather, how did I sell to men this certain month? And so forth. The next one is colors. So instead you could scroll down and find it, or you just click this little button up top, colors. It'll take you right to colors, and you can do the same thing. It'll sort by all the different colors you've got and which one sells the best. And so in this case, pink is doing really well. Typically it's going to be black, but just on the dummy data that I made, pink is the top seller. And so as you can see on pretty much all the graphs, the gold line is the amount of money, and the blue line is the amount of sales, just to give you an idea of how many were ordered. And I threw the labels on there just to make sure you know which is which. and which one's in dollars. Next one is sizes. So you can do the same thing by year, by gender, and just see which sizes you're typically selling more of. Looks like I sell to a little bit more extra large people. And then down to cancellations. For those of you who want to check out cancellations, you're welcome to do that. So from I just had it in the year. Maybe you'd see that, hey, maybe in May I get the most cancellations, and you can do what you want with that kind of information if it helps you make decisions or not. But those are all the graphs. So we can go back to simple view. The next and last part of this project is the detailed view, and all that it really does is it goes a couple steps inward. So let's say on shirt 10, let's say this is like a cat shirt, right? And this is the ASIN of that specific cat shirt. Now we can see that it's ordered however you want it to be. If I want to see ordered by royalties, I want to see, okay, so it looks like shirt number 1 sold the most royalties. Now I want to know what color sold the best in shirt number 1. Well, it'll tell me right here, looks like dark heather, black, and royal blue sold the best for this specific shirt. And so you can do what you want with that information. But all in all, it can be very helpful just to target in on your audience and see exactly what they're buying and when, especially if you already have a couple years under your belt in Amazon merch. Just to go back, if you want to add in some data, what you can do is go back here to add sales data, and it'll take you right to the last square, so you don't have to move the cursor at all. So then you go to your next CSV file, and I'm just going to use a little piece of this one just for fun. Go ahead and copy that, and then click right there. You can paste it in, hit Update Tables, OK, and then this is all updated now. So it's that's the worksheet, guys. Don't forget to leave a like to help get this video some more coverage and more viewers, and leave a comment for any kind of feedback you want to give. If it helped you or not, I'd appreciate it. All right, thanks guys.